Welcome to our session here on why glutathione orally taken in is actually ineffective. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you right now my screen. I'm going to share with you a study that actually shows this information. And so this is called the nanoscale glutathione patches improve organ function. And if you go to the, let's see, it's not letting me go to the next. Yes, here we go. So if you read along here with me here in this research study, you'll see that the current methods of oral supplementation with glutathione or its amino acids precursors have not been effective in significantly elevating the blood levels of this antioxidant due to stomach acid destruction of L-glutathione and unpredictability of results with precursor amino acids. There you have it. Direct daily injection, so it's comparing oral supplementation as opposed to daily injection versus one other method of glutathione has been more effective in producing short-term elevation of glutathione. However, this approach is unreliable due to the expense and inconvenience. Preliminary clinical data from blood and urine samples collected every 24 hours over a period of 5 days from 15 volunteers wearing the glutathione patch have shown 3 to 4-fold increase in blood levels of glutathione compared to baseline levels. So this is showing that there was a 300 to 600% increase in glutathione levels from wearing the patch, which is activating your original blueprint, as opposed to taking oral supplementation, which, as you see here, your stomach acid destroys the L-glutathione, which is why you don't get any benefit from oral supplementation. Direct daily injections, we know that has a lifespan of 7 minutes in the blood. And let's say if you had 500 milligrams of glutathione injected into your bloodstream, just 7 minutes later, that 500 milligrams would drop to 250. And it would continue to drop until it completely dissipates. And then there's no effect or help. You will still benefit from it. It's just that there's only a 7-minute lifespan in your bloodstream before then it starts to dissipate. And about every thereafter, then you lose the benefit from taking glutathione intravenously. I have had several people with glutathione supplementation by IV, and the glutathione levels were one person paid about $250 per IV, and she would have that twice a month because she had MS. She no longer has MS. And then the other person had breast cancer, and she was taking 2 glutathione IVs per week at the tune of $480 a pop. So that's basically $1,000 a week if you $20 shy each time, to get a glutathione intravenous session. And those take about an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, depending on the drip rate that is set when you do a glutathione drip. So this is showing us here in this study that the patches worn 12 hours daily over a period of 4 weeks caused a highly significant improvement in physiological functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in the pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. And in short, it says here, stated differently, all organs achieve significant cellular physiologic functional improvement with a statistical power of at least 91%. That is absolutely phenomenal. 91%. That's about as good as it gets. And that is from the patch, the glutathione patch that we have, which is part of our Fantastic Five. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the rest of this presentation. Hi, Carol. How are you doing? Great to have you here.
Oh, here I am.
Yes. Great to see you. There you are. Alrighty. Well, I'm glad to have you on here today. We were just going over some information about the glutathione patch and the difference between our research study actually shows the difference between oral supplementation versus intravenous supplementation, as opposed to applying the patch and what the results are. So let's move on to the actual info Q&A. We are live on Facebook at this moment. Okay. And I'm going to do it this way this time. See if we do okay with this. Okay, so we're talking about pluripotent cells being activated through our phototherapy patches. And we're going to talk about the Fantastic Five. And you see my little guy that's climbing up your DNA ladder there. And we're going to talk about the X39 mother activation patch. There's 39 iterations of this patch before it basically came out and was made available to the public. So let me tell you a little story, and let's go ahead and do the disclaimer, and then I'll tell you a little story. So these patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease, and we do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer any protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified licensed healthcare professional, and we strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. So no medical claims are being made with the suggestions here. None of the patches are made for a particular condition. They are intended for human use only. Not to say that some people do put their patches, used or new patches, on their animals, but they are intended for human use only. Okay. And so without further ado, we're going to talk about what the Food and Drug Administration recently has taken a new position that all claims surrounding stem cells and healing, even those from natural products, will be regarded as drug claims. Very interesting. The FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light, which these are photobiomodulation patches, which is phototherapy patches. So it's saying here, the FDA also asserts that claiming that the use of light to elevate peptides, such as GHKCU, is inappropriate for a general wellness product. So as a result, we can't say that, although the clinical studies show that, and we do in fact have over 90 clinical studies that have been done in the United States, Europe, as well as Asia. And we also had to jump through quite a few hoops to get into 81 different countries. Pretty soon we will be launching in South Korea, first quarter of 2024. You can only imagine all the red tape and all the regulatory agencies that we had to get approved by in order to be in those 81, now soon to be 82 countries. So throughout this presentation, I will let you know things that we are no longer allowed to say because of the FDA asserting that claims that use of light to elevate peptides, such as which our patches do elevate peptides, but we're no longer allowed to say that because it's inappropriate for a general wellness product. Okay, so moving on. I'm going to tell you a little about Lauren Picard. Before I do that, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about, well, let's talk about Lauren Picard, and then I'm going to tell you the little story about how these patches came into being, how they were invented. There's a really cool story behind this. And in 1973, Dr. Lauren Picard discovered, much to his amazement and the world's amazement, that GHKCU copper peptide, that specific peptide, activates 33%, 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells, turning your genes to a younger, healthier state. That's pretty incredible. So let's hit the pause button before I get into exactly what stem cells are. So back about 23 years ago, David Schmidt had been contracted by the Department of Defense to invent a whole series of different things for them. And so he's been an inventor since he was a child, and he began to invent different things with an enormous amount of success. And so at one point, the Department of Defense approached him and said, "Hey, David, listen, by chance, would you be able to invent something that would elevate the energy, would enhance the energy of our Navy SEALs? Because right now they are on amphetamines, uppers, energy drinks, And those things actually do work. They do boost their energy. However, it's very hard on their bodies. And as soon as the effects wear out, they crash. It's very difficult, very harsh on the body. And they're the first line of defense. We can't really have them having that kind of experience any longer. We need to find something that's more effective. Can you invent something? And at the time, the Navy SEALs, and they still are, because I have friends who recently have retired from the Navy who are still in the military, and they said, yeah, we were aware that the Navy SEALs, the Black Ops Navy SEAls, actually used those patches, but the rest of us were in the military, we were not allowed to have access to them. We all wanted to get our hands on them, but they were the only ones who had access to them. And at the time, they were in submarines. Those submarines were, deep in the water in a pressurized cabin. You're in this environment where you have 100% of the time air conditioning. For 90 days at a time, that submarine would not surface, to the surface of the natural environment. So every 90 days, then, of course, it would surface. But for 90 days at a time, they're in this encapsulated, pressurized bullet, if you will, in the depths of the ocean, taking care of whatever their military actions are that needed to be taking place. And in addition, they were also bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies from all the gizmos and gadgets and devices that are in the panels of that submarine. And on top of that, all those LED lights that are, not only are you getting the electromagnetic frequencies, so you're getting, it's like being inside a microwave oven, but on top of that, you also have the blue light toxicity from the LED lights, which cause not just inflammation in the body, but it also causes insulin resistance, which messes up your glucose cycle inside the body. It's a tough environment for them to be in, not to mention they don't get outside. They don't get any fresh air. They don't get any fresh sunlight. Sunlight, we need that for vitamin A and vitamin D production, the regulation of melatonin and serotonin that regulates your circadian rhythms, not just for your sleep cycle, but also for all of the cycles. Every system and every organ of the body is in a different clock cycle. And that's all regulated through your eyes, through your skin, making contact through photosynthesis in the sun. So David Schmidt, when he was given this challenge, this thing to fix, this thing to remedy, he immediately went into meditation. And he's a man of prayer and meditation. He always has been. And he had this divine download. Literally, this packet of information was just revealed to him. And he immediately ran to his lab and went to work on the findings that had been given to him in this download, this divine download. And lo and behold, it worked. And nothing like this had ever existed before. And that's when the energy enhancer patch, this is the very first patch that he invented. So this activated certain peptides inside your blood to, in fact, increase and enhance your energy, regulate your lymphatic system, and also help your heart rate variability so that your heart is more elastic and more able to respond, and to, just as it may idle high in response to a stressor, it will have more elasticity to come back down, because it's bad if it stays stuck idling high after everything has cleared, right? So that's what this patch does. And this is a 23-year-old technology that became available to you and to me 19 years ago. And 4 years ago, then, based on the work of Lauren Picard, continuing on along the same ideology, using the same patches, using different crystal formations, different arrangement of patterns and frequencies for each patch, David has gone on to create an entire line of what we now are enjoying and experiencing and benefiting from, are 11 different patches to signal different things in the body so that we have the effect of a younger, healthier state, because whatever organ system that particular patch is targeting, it is repairing, restoring, and regenerating it. Okay. So let's talk about what stem cells are, because stem cells are the building block. That is the most basic unit of information and intelligence that builds your body from conception until you go to the grave, until you take your last breath and you are no longer here in physical form. You've left the body and now you have passed on. So stem cells are what we describe as pluripotent cells. Most people have never heard of the word pluripotent, but you're hearing about it now. Pluripotent simply means, you break it down, pluripotent is plural versus singular. So plural means many, and potential is potent, potentiality. So many potentials is what this is telling us, that these cells, it's a descriptor of what stem cells are, which is they have many potentials. They have 100% of the programming from conception until you go to the grave. And so when your mother's ovum unites with your father's sperm at conception, you now have complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells that now have all the information that you need to form you as an embryo in your mother's uterus. Fast forward 6 to 8 weeks later, we can witness the little heartbeat in an ultrasound, through a Doppler sonar. And fast forward 36 to 40 weeks later, you have a fully formed fetus. That fetus then becomes a newborn baby. Continue moving forward. And by the time you're 30 years old, 50% of your stem cells turn off. That's right. For no other reason, not because they're damaged, not because they're destroyed, not because they disappear, but they simply go dormant. That means they go to sleep. They turn off as a function of aging. And if you fast forward to 60 years of age, now you have 90% turn off, again, as a function of aging, until you apply one of these activation patches. And the thing to note is that your body is a temporary housing unit, just like the house in which I'm in today, the house that you're in, the building that you're in. You got to take good care of this temporary housing unit. And when you look inside the body, the stem cells, which are the most basic original unit of intelligence that has everything necessary to form every single element of your body, from the hair on top of your head to the pores on the bottom of your feet, to your toenails, to your skin, to all your internal organs. It has 100% of that data, of that intelligence is inside there. Your stem cells are very much like printer ink cartridges. So if you look at a printer, it has ink cartridges, and you know that they've got color and they've got black ink, right? And when you have 100% of the powder that makes up that ink cartridge, colored or black, you make a copy, and the copy is undistinguishable from the original, bar none. But when you've used up 70, 80, 90% of the ink, now you have a faded version of the original. You can clearly tell the difference between the original, nice, crisp copy, version, and then you've got the copy, which is a very faded version. Your stem cells work much in the same way. When you only have 30%, 20%, 10% left, the copies, which is a function of aging. That's why you see that as you age, you start to, the cells are not exactly replicated with the same precision, precisely because you don't have the same number of stem cells that are available to duplicate and to regenerate and replace any damaged cell that you have inside the body, which is also another reason why, as we age, it takes longer to heal from whatever conditions you might have, from whatever traumas, physical injuries that you may sustain, any diseases, any illnesses, and so forth that you have. It takes longer because there's less, what used to be the job of 100% of your stem cells is now falling on the shoulders of just 10 or 20%, depending on your age, 30%, at best 50% if you're over 30. So how do these patches work? These patches are really quite a fascinating technology. And if you see here, it's a tiny little 3 centimeter, 2.54 centimeters equals an inch, just to give you some sort of perspective. It's about the size of a quarter, a little bit bigger than a quarter, not much bigger. If you look in the middle here, you'll see that in the middle, there's a white little crystal lattice. It's a white dot. And that crystal lattice, that's made of organic hydrogen, oxygen, water crystals, as well as organic sugar crystals, organic salt crystals, and a proprietary blend of organic amino acids. And these crystals are actually arranged in a specific geometrical pattern, and they're set by a special machine set to a very specific frequency with surgical exact precision, so that when that crystal lattice touches your skin, the infrared light inside your body, boom, that's going to be the switch that turns on, because your body is the battery that powers this mechanical device. This is simply a mechanical device, no different than a mirror. See this mirror over here? There's a mirror right there. That's reflecting the images that are in its environment, in its surroundings. This is doing the same thing. The moment that infrared light that's inside your body, that 98.6, 98.7 degrees Fahrenheit, which is evidence of electrons and electrolytes inside of our body, that's infrared light, just like the sun is 42, 43% infrared light. We're infrared light beings. And that infrared light glows outside of our body. It's not just contained inside the walls of our skin. We actually glow in the dark, to the tune and to the effect that when military and law enforcement use night vision goggles, they can see you glowing in the dark. And that's how they catch the bad guys, right? So now that infrared light's going to bounce off of this crystal lattice, and it's going to reflect back 4 inches deep into your body. And I want you to take a look at this image here, because if I were to shine a light on a diamond crystal, you would immediately see the reflection back here to your eyes, as all the different colors of the prism reflect back to your eyes. It's that same mechanism. These crystals are doing the exact same thing with the infrared light. It's reflecting that light back into your body. So let's talk a little bit about phototherapy. And it has been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects. And these patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patches have been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release. What's particulate release? Those are tiny little particles that are released as soon as the electrodermal skin conductance. Your skin has electromagnetic frequencies because we have all these electrons inside of our body from that light that's inside of our body. And that's conducting, it's sending information through the little electrolytes, which are other packets of light information. And so we have particulate release, we have gas emissions, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and visible spectrum light. And this then stimulates the area of the skin, producing improved physiological effects. So variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years or more. And in that time, there's been very little evidence of negative side effects. And this suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. In fact, I was just talking to a naturopathic doctor earlier today, who's also an integrative medicine doctor. And she was saying that when she received her training in Germany, that at the time, this was about 25 years ago, they were already teaching about phototherapy and about the use of ultraviolet light and infrared light, and how the different colors of the light spectrum, you know, the red, the blue, the green, the yellow, the orange, etc. All the different colors are tied to different organ systems in the body. It's really quite fascinating. And so now here we have where we're using these patches that actively serve as a mechanical device to reflect back just like a diamond. Those crystals are acting just like a diamond and reflecting back your infrared light. So let's talk a little bit about something that you should notice is that these are non-transdermal, and non-transdermal means that nothing transfers into the dermis, which is the skin. They're non-invasive. Nothing is being put into the skin. The skin is not absorbing those crystals. Those crystals are just a mechanical device to reflect back that infrared light. They're organic. They're holistic, FDA-compliant Class 1 medical devices under the general wellness category. And we manufacture our products at FDA-registered facilities in the US. And our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board, which is the highest authority in the European Union. So we manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device. And in fact, our facility in Ireland is ISO 9001 and ISO 13485. So that's a quality standard, and that's per our scientists David Schmidt. So it's important, critically important, really, to drink water no matter what you're doing. Just the most fit athlete that is just wanting to maintain their state of well-being without even aspiring to increase their performance and become a greater peak performer, just as a maintenance, just for health and well-being, you need to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water just to maintain health and well-being. That is true for all mammals. The difference between cats, dogs, horses, etc., goats, mammals, most animals have the instinct. They know that, first of all, the only thing they drink is water. And they instinctively know to periodically throughout the day to get water. They know that they cannot allow themselves to be dehydrated. And so they constantly seek out water. And anyone who's ever had a dog that they finished their water bowl and there was no water in their bowl left and they needed water, those dogs will go to find water at the base of a plant dish. They'll go to a toilet bowl. They'll get it, hop into your bathtub. They'll go to, if they're an outdoor dog, they'll go by where the water hose is to get water, even stagnant water, because they know that it's important for themselves to keep hydrated. So us humans, we're kind of funny beings because we sometimes, instead of drinking water when we're thirsty, we eat stuff. Oftentimes people will eat sugary things when they're thirsty and all they have to do is drink water. Or other times they will not drink water and instead drink something like coffee, which dehydrates you. For every cup of coffee you actually have to have 2 of water to offset the dehydration factor of coffee, because coffee does have antioxidants in it, but it is a dehydrating element, and it also is a vasodilator. So for every cup of coffee you have to drink 2 just to get you back at par so that you're at the same baseline and that you're not more dehydrated. So the other reason why water is so important is that when you're unhydrated or dehydrated, the proteins inside your body, they fold. And when they fold, they stop working. So if you have all these proteins that are starting to fold because you're dehydrated, guess what? Your body's going to have issues, and you're going to start to have the presentation of different problems, different symptoms that will lead to other conditions if they're not handled right away. So something as simple as just drinking water is so very important. Okay. The other thing to know is that water is it is like the water in your body. We're about anywhere from 82% water if you're a baby to up to 60 years old, you're about 55% water. And your DNA is 92% water. So it's the primary structure that actually holds up your DNA that looks like a spiraling staircase. So that's the primary thing that holds up one of the building blocks of life. And your DNA is an energy amplifier unless you're dehydrated. And then at 8% dehydration, your DNA actually starts to unravel. It actually starts to come apart. I actually have an image that I showed in our last broadcast. Let me see if I can find that so I can share that with you guys. Oh, what happened here? Whoops. I lost my Zoom controls. Oh, here we go. Here's my Zoom controls. Okay. Now we're doing good. Okay. If I can get this to open, we'll be in good shape here. Here we have sorry about that. My Zoom controls keep disappearing. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we have an image of DNA. This is at 8% dehydration. You'll see that properly hydrated DNA, the DNA strands are intact, and you could see it's perfect figure 8. Here, they're unraveling at 8% dehydration. They're actually coming apart. They're literally crumbling and unraveling. Just 8% dehydration. At 2% dehydration, you'll feel parched in your mouth. You'll feel thirsty in your mouth. 8%, you have the unraveling of your DNA. 10% dehydration, you start to lose your mind because, again, too many proteins have folded. The brain stops working. And then at 12% dehydration, you die. 12% dehydration, everything shuts down. You're gone. You're dead. No coming back from that. It's a done deal. So it's very important to keep hydrated. Okay, back to sharing my slide here with you. Okay, so we are going to talk about, I'm going to go from here. I'm going to bring to your attention the fact that our patches are to be worn 12 hours on, then 12 hours off. Then you are going to match, the 12 hours that you've worn, from the daytime, from morning till sunset. So let's say you wear them from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Then from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you're going to allow that rest, repair, restore cycle. You're matching the same 12 hours that you were signaling your body for 12 hours straight, where you have a 33% of your previously dormant pluripotent cells are now on. Then you remove the patches, and now you're going to allow the rest, repair, restore cycle. It's a matching 12 hours. Just like, again, daytime, you have 12 hours of daylight from sunrise to sunset. And then you have nighttime from sunset to sunrise. In your body, we are Bluetooth. We are in rhythm, in cadence with the rhythm of the earth. We have a day and a night cycle also. We have melatonin and serotonin that just from seeing the sunlight and seeing daylight, looking at the blue sky, you get signaled your melatonin and serotonin so that you have a proper sleep cycle. But the contact of the sun on your skin is also those photoreceptors, which are like little eyes that are receiving photosynthesis from the sun, just like plants do. You're getting in the morning prior to 10 a.m. in the morning after sunrise, but before 10 a.m., if you make sure that you get, it's really important to make sure you get sunlight throughout your entire body, front and back, unrobed, and you are letting the photoreceptors of your skin begin to, through photosynthesis, you start to create natural vitamin A from the UVA light and vitamin D and D3 from the UVB light. And those vitamin A and vitamin D both turn into hormones inside of your body, which are critically important for health and well-being. In fact, people who are inside all the time and never go outside have a lot of further problems with chronic health conditions because they're not getting natural sunlight, they're not getting fresh air, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. I'm going to skip over this time to, we've talked before about Dr. John Harmon's right bundle branch blockage and how that was resolved after 14 months of use on the patches. We've also talked about how Barry, who had long haulers COVID, he had suffered with headaches, nausea, terrible insomnia, fatigue, and no stamina for 18 months. And just after 24 hours of wearing the patches, he had better sleep. He was on a high in terms of just high energy. He was ecstatic, feeling really, really good physically. No nausea, no headache. Again, suffering with long haulers for 18 months. And in less than 24 hours, he was relieved from these different things. Again, we're not making any medical claims. These are just reporting the results of what these individuals had after wearing the patches. We also have Kathy McCarthy, who after just less than a year of wearing the patches, you can see the 62-year-old in January had plenty of wrinkles. Here in March had much less wrinkling. June had no wrinkles, just a few lines. And in July, wrinkles, lines, all gone. But the best part of her story is that she was relieved of autoimmune disorder. And because the pluripotent cells are replacing and regenerating every damaged cell with a brand new cell. And now you have, as a 62-year-old, she has 43% of her original stem cells that have been activated as a result of wearing this mechanical device called a patch. And so she basically has the levels of a 30, 35-year-old working in her favor. So now you have this rapid repair going on. And so not only did she improve her looks and her aesthetics and her beauty, because you can see she's a very beautiful woman, but her autoimmune disorder also unraveled and was replaced. Everything that was causing the autoimmune disorder was replaced with a brand new healthy cell. And so now she's free from the burden of the pain and all the symptoms that she had from that. Myself too, I was hit by a bus, unfortunately, just 3 blocks shy of completing a 16-mile bike ride back in 2017. And I had not only a traumatic brain injury, neck injury, lower back injury, as well as a leg injury because I had a laceration that went from my ankle to my knee. I also had no short-term memory for the better part of 2 years. And the first 2 years, I was not aware that I even had short-term memory loss because there was so much pain, so much dealing with the traumatic brain injury, the neck and the back injury. This was a lot to contend with, very, very painful. I had horrible insomnia. My insomnia was so bad that it would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock. Sometimes it wasn't until 12 or 1 that I would finally, get to sleep. And then I could only sleep for 3 hours. The pain would wake me up. So yeah, it was a bad situation, but I'm so glad to report that all of that is behind me. I got to repair this laundry list of things that were going on that were really wrong with me, because as you know, when your brain is offline, because that's what happens when you have a traumatic brain injury, you actually have brain damage. So a lot of things stop working and your whole neurobiophysiology and chemistry is all out of sorts. And so I also lost 10 pounds that I couldn't afford to lose. That was miserable. And so the long and short is that 14 months after being on the patches, everything, for the most part, got cleaned up. And on top of that, I also had the benefit of some of the aesthetics too, because I was unaware that I had crow's feet and hooded eyes, not eyebrows. And you can see that I have neither of those, not only in the picture, but here as you watch me do this video as well. Okay, so let's talk about the X39 patch. And I want to share for the X39 patch, I want to share with you, we have a study here. I have it pulled up. This is the one on 49. This is on glutathione. And I want to show you the study. I'm going to share with you here. Actually, you know what? Before, this is what I'm going to do. Okay, so we're going to share. I'm going to share with you the abstracts or the synopsises that I wrote on the Fantastic Five, so that you can see what the studies indicate. This is something I just sent to a doctor just yesterday. If anyone is interested in these, the summaries that I wrote for each one of the studies, because you'll see here are the studies. So for the 39, this is done by the International Journal of Research Studies in Medical and Health Sciences. Let's see, there were 50 subjects. The conclusion was subjects wore patches 8 to 12 hours a day for 7 days, produced an increase in amino acids. Again, I'm going to state what we said earlier about the FDA says that we can no longer say these things. I'm just sharing with you what the results of this study were for educational purposes only. So the subjects wore patches 8 to 12 hours a day for 7 days, produced an increase in 8 amino acids at significant levels, improvement in short-term memory, increased quality of sleep within 24 hours, and increase in vitality, biosynthesis of copper peptide production, and increases in neurotransmitters productions, and improves metabolism. That was for the mother activation patch. I'm going to go on to share the others with you here, and then we'll go into the bullet points as to what each does. For 49, the conclusion was that the subjects wore the patches 39 and 49 experienced significant changes observed from data to suggest that patches has the potential to decrease breakdown of bones during the cycle of bone repair, and saw one amino acid change production levels at significance over 60 days and changed in AHKCU, that's AHKCU copper peptide production, and changes in NIX production. Supports improved bone density. Note, bone cycle occurs over a period of 150 days. That's pretty significant because this was only over a 60-day period, and they already saw that change in just 60 days. Next, the glutathione patch, which we started off this broadcast talking about glutathione. The conclusion here, it says the effect of the glutathione patch on organ physiologic function, bioelectric impedance data indicative of cellular physiologic function, and to demonstrate the significant improvement in physiological functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, pituitary, and on glands. And the subject ages were 18 years old to 86, wearing patches 12 hours daily. The conclusion was produced highly significant improvements in physiological functional status of the liver, gallbladder, intestines, adrenals, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in pancreas with a statistical power of 91%. Pretty amazing. Application of the carnosine patch shows here. The conclusion here was that the study showed subjects wearing this patch 12 hours daily produced a very significant level of improvement in the physiological functional status of the pancreas, liver, right kidney, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, pituitary, and thyroid glands. Incredible. With an average statistical power of 95%. This was accepted as true in that study. And then the Eon patch. This one showed the effect of the Eon patch on 50 subject ages 19 to 79 years of age. They were tested for reducing stress within 20 minutes. I don't know about too many things that you can take that within 20 minutes will reduce your stress. That's what this study showed. And parasympathetic response after wearing the patch, relaxed states. So the conclusion was that the subjects, 60% of the subjects achieved relaxed state in as little as 20 minutes, thus elicited an enhanced parasympathetic response and could enable the majority of the participants to achieve a reduced stress state. So the hypothesis that wearing the Eon patch for 20 minutes reduces stress was accepted as true. Very exciting information, if you ask me. And so let's go on to share with you the bullet points on these patches. And again, you already know that the FDA, what they've told us we can and we cannot say, so I'm just going to report here what each of these do. And so this resets a third of your genes to a younger, healthier state. It regenerates cells by replacing damaged cells, restores collagen, rebuilds scar tissue, reduces fine lines and wrinkles, increases energy, sexual libido, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-inflammation. Did I mention that it increases sexual libido? It actually does, because younger people are always healthier. And of course, that is part of youth and vitality, isn't it? And since your body has now 33% of your previously dormant stem cells that are actively on, everything is going to get in balance, because your body's natural disposition, because of your pluripotent cells, is to get into balance and into that state of regeneration. If you have pain relief, within 3 to 4 minutes, you'll experience 50 to 100% pain relief, improved hair growth, deeper and sounder sleep. Supposed to go. Okay. And we have, the thing to note is that we do have a Veritas Concilium, which is basically a regimen or a recommendation. Veritas means true. Concilium is a plan of action, using traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points to actually magnify the effects of the patches on the body. So depending on, if you'll notice here, I normally wear energy enhancer on my left and my right wrist. I use it on the pericardium point, 3 finger widths down from the wrist. But today you'll see that I'm wearing 3949 glutathione and E on here, and I've got carnosine under glutathione, excuse me, under my belly button, because I have it's actually going down. It's about, let's say, maybe 40% down because of carrying heavy luggage last week. I have this basically little cartilage bubble between two bones that filled up with fluid, causing some pain and discomfort. I don't have any pain right now because, of course, I'm wearing the patches, and because it's also 40% down. But instead of wearing my patches as shown here in this diagram, which is our general locations, governing vessel 14 is where your brainstem goes down into your spinal column and signals your autonomic nervous system. The other place that the subjects on all of our studies wore the patches was 3 finger widths below the belly button at conception vessel 6. Conception vessel 6 is responsible for anything related to conception, reproduction, digestive issues, hormones. And so myself, because I had pain here in the wrist, I always tell people, point to the pain and patch it. So I took my patches, almost all of them, put them here on my wrist because I want to take care of this first. I'm trying to bring the pain level down from that. Like where I said, right now, I don't have any pain whatsoever, which is pretty cool because it was radiating up into my palm, which was very sensitive, but it's not anymore. And it's getting better. So hopefully, I don't know how long it'll take for it to be 100% gone, but I know that in time, I just need to let the body do, because your own body is the one that's doing the restoration. It's your own pluripotent cells that are doing the regeneration and the replacement of any damaged cell. So I just have to drink my water and faithfully every morning, just like I get up and brush my teeth every morning, I brush my teeth, I put my patches on, so it's a new habit. I always have them in the bathroom. They're always on the left side because we read from left to right. So it made sense to me to put them on the left. Plus I have counter space there. And that way you see them every day and then it reminds you to put them on. All righty. So we're going to talk about the daughter 49 patch. And this patch is really awesome because it does protect you against radiation poisoning. Not too many things protect you against radiation poisoning, but this patch does. It also increases your lean muscle mass, bone density, muscle mass, and strength. It increases your energy, your focus, your cardiovascular function. It protects you from EMFs, which are electromagnetic frequencies, which nowadays we are bombarded with, not just from the electromagnetic frequencies from the gizmos and gadgets and devices that we have inside of our house, but we also get EMFs from our neighbors and all the internet and Wi-Fi's, routers and gizmos and gadgets that they have. So we have extra bombardment of electromagnetic frequencies that we experience in this modern age. And so this is going to actually protect you from electromagnetic frequencies and also from 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, TSA scanners, excuse me, X-ray machines at doctors' offices, also the blue light toxicity that you get from your LED lights in your home, your work, places of commerce, business, offices, all those different places you have LED lights, fluorescent lights, so hard on your eyes, fluorescent lights, as well as halogen lights. Anything other than an incandescent bulb will produce that blue light toxicity and will produce insulin resistance inside the body, which is going to throw off your glucose cycles of the body and also increase inflammation in the body, which is not a good thing, as you can only imagine. This patch is also going to use whatever belly fat you have. It'll use that as an immediate source of energy. Typically, your body, the way it functions normally is when you eat, whatever glucose you're deriving from that meal is used immediately as an energy source for your body to sustain itself, for the remainder of the day. But when you're on this patch, it's going to seek that belly fat as an immediate source of energy to do this. Now you have 33% more energy running through your body. So it's going to want to use that to repair, restore, and regenerate everything on the inside and outside. And this patch, because in fact, it does increase your bone density. If you have any osteoporosis, it'll reduce the osteoporosis because as your bone density increases, your osteoporosis will disappear. Osteoporosis, as I have stated before, is not an illness. It's not a disease. It's it's a condition, it's a state of being. Osteoporosis is simply osteo in Latin means bone, porosis means porous. So it's just describing that you have a bone that's porous. And so I do have a video that I send to people about bone density and about osteoporosis and about DEX scans, because a lot of people say, oh, my doctor, did a DEX scan on me and they said that I have osteoporosis. I say, well, let me send you this informative video by a doctor who will tell you some very critical information about DEX scans. This broadcast is not to educate you about DEX scans, but I will tell you that there is some critical information that you need to know about the accuracy and inaccuracy of a DEX scan and how that is not necessarily the best indicator of osteoporosis. And so you'll hear it straight from a doctor that will educate you on osteoporosis as well as DEX scans. If you're interested in that, just put a comment below here on the YouTube channel, and I will be sure to link that video, put it in the comments below. Okay, the next three. So we already talked about 39 and 49. We're talking about the Fantastic Five. We have three more patches. The three more patches are glutathione, carnosine, and eon. Okay. So the next, of course, I'm going to remind you to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water, because we want those proteins to be unfolded, happy, healthy, and working well for you, right? And we want that DNA to, that 92% water that's required to hold up the DNA. We want to make sure that doesn't unravel, right? Plus, you don't want your brain to shrink. Our brains are very hydrophilic. They love water. They're primarily made up of water and fat. And so the brain, when you're dehydrated, the brain shrinks. Cells shrink, all sorts of things in your body shrink when you're dehydrated. We don't want your brain to shrink. Okay, glutathione. So let's talk about glutathione. We talked a little bit about glutathione at the beginning of this broadcast. These are master antioxidants, the three of them. And by wearing the patches, you are going to be signaling the activation of these master antioxidants in the body. This glutathione patch is the master detoxifier and immune booster of the body. Within just 24 hours of your having worn this patch, so let's say you started this morning at 9 a.m., you put all 5 patches on, and from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., you're wearing the patches. 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you have your rest, repair, restore, your sleep cycle. Tomorrow morning, you wake up, guess what? Good news is your glutathione levels, your immune system is boosted up to the level of having your glutathione be anywhere from 300 to 600% higher in just that 24-hour period, because your original blueprint from when you were conceived, not from when you were born, but from when you were conceived, that original playbook was reopened. And now you have this increase in detoxification, immune boosting, increase in antivirals, increase in radioprotector against DNA damage, improved skin appearance, and of course, glutathione, which is found in every muscle and in every organ of the body, including the brain, helps promote relaxation and reduce stress. Because it helps promote relaxation and reduce stress, it also helps with pain management. So good thing to know. Research paper on glutathione says that the patch is worn 12 hours daily. Over a period of just 4 weeks, produced a highly significant improvement in physiologic functional status of the pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, and pituitary gland, and a very significant improvement in the pancreas with a statistical power of at least 72%. So stated differently, all organs achieved significant cellular physiologic functional status improvement compared to the baseline with a stat power of at least 91%. So that is found in the nanoscale glutathione patches improve organ function. The next patch, so this is the third patch. The fourth patch is going to be carnosine. And carnosine is a master antioxidant. That's the name of the master antioxidant we have in the body. This one supports and improves cardiovascular system, all things related to heart and muscle, as well as improving healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing time. because this has to do with all things related to all of your muscles, your strength, your stamina, your endurance will be increased. And this patch detoxes the brain from aluminum, as well as aids with wound restoration and reparation. So some of you might be thinking aluminum, well, I don't really get a lot of exposure to aluminum, but think about all the sodas, drinks, fruit punches, water, beer, beverages that you've had in an aluminum can. Think of all the pies that you ate that were baked in a tin aluminum pie mold. How many of you have had take home where you had an aluminum container with an aluminum topping? Or better yet, we're just on the heels of Thanksgiving. How many of you have had baked potatoes, baked turkey, baked ham, baked anything, baked corn on the cob, baked vegetables that were wrapped in aluminum? Well, anytime that food is touching the aluminum, it's absorbing amounts of traces of aluminum. We've known for about 30 years that aluminum is a known neurotoxin. It causes cognitive decline. It causes loss of memory, causes loss of your brain's ability to work properly. We've known that for about 25, 30 years. And in fact, about 2014, the makers of Tom's toothpaste was the first toothpaste. It's the first toothpaste maker who happened to be an organic toothpaste maker that, because of the consumers clamoring at Tom's to put it into a different container, because it's like, how could you have organic toothpaste in an aluminum container when we know that this is a known neurotoxin for the last 25, 30 years? So Tom's toothpaste moved to a recyclable plastic container. So I want you to think, all of us have grown up here in the States using toothpaste in an aluminum tube because that's the only thing that was available, unless your parents had you brush your teeth and mouth with baking soda and organic coconut oil. But I didn't. I grew up, Crest, Colgate, at some point AIM. And then when I, left home and became independent, got married, I realized I wanted to do things organically. And then I switched over to organic toothpastes. That wasn't until I was in my 30s. And then eventually I got rid of that too. And I just went strictly over to baking soda and coconut oil about 15 years ago. And I've used that ever since. So the bottom line is that you have toothpaste that's been in an aluminum container, and now you're brushing your teeth. It's sitting on your gums, and it doesn't matter that you're not swallowing the toothpaste. That toothpaste is sitting on your gums, and it's being absorbed directly from your gums and sublingually directly into your brain. Really not a good formula for health and well-being. But you don't know what you don't know until you know it. So guess what? This is going to help unring the bell of any damage that may have been caused by that. Okay? Remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. And it's from the time you get up in the morning until you go to sleep. I would also say, try not to drink water with your meals. It's good to have water on hand in case you get something stuck or whatnot, but you don't want to be drinking a lot of water with your meal, like right before the meal or as you're eating the meal, because that will dilute the hydrochloric acid that's in your stomach, which will thin out the mucosal lining inside your stomach walls, which causes a host of other problems. So you want to get the maximum benefit. Don't drink any water 30 minutes before you eat. Try to drink as little water as possible while you're eating. The rest of the time, drink up 7-Up. Don't drink 7-Up. I don't know why I said that. Okay. The last patch. We do have 11 patches, but we're just talking about the Fantastic Five today. This Eon patch is a master anti-inflammatory patch. It's what regulates and manages inflammation. Inflammation in the body is literally flames, heat, fire inside the body, which is causing your body to send more blood flow to repair whatever it is that's damaged there. Your pluripotent cells know that where there is inflammation, there's oxidative stress, and there is damaged cells. So it knows that to go where there is inflammation. This patch is called the anti-stress and the happy patch. You saw from the study that within 20 minutes, 60% of the subjects experienced reduced stress and relief. this patch, it's a phenomenal patch. I know it's hard to see here. At some point, I will eventually find a graphic that shows this brain in a brighter setting so that you could see it a little bit better. But this patch does brain balancing of the left and the right brain hemisphere. So as you start on the patches and you're out of balance, this will soon bring you into balance. And because it's reducing your cortisol and your C-reactive proteins, it creates this very calming effect that while you're on the patches, you feel energized, you feel bright, focused, clear-minded, but calm. You don't have a rush of energy where you have any angst. No, you feel calm because your cortisol is reduced and your C-reactives is basically reduced. So those are being brought into balance so that you have a better feeling of well-being. This patch, in addition to doing that, it also raises your anti-neoplastins, which I'll tell you what that is in just a second, and increases the DHEA fountain of youth hormone. How much better can it get? Yes, we actually can signal the fountain of youth hormone. Very exciting. So what are anti-neoplastins? And these are simply peptides that are found in the blood and urine of normal, healthy people. And the research studies are showing that they might stimulate the immune system as well as might also kill the proliferation and the growth of cancer cells. In a clinical setting, these are used for various cancers, high cholesterol, brain swelling due to any kind of infection like encephalitis, meningitis, HIV, AIDS, Parkinson's disease, and any other type of condition. In a clinical setting, if you were to get anti-neoplastins, you would get that through IVIG, which is intravenous immunoglobulin therapy. And that's basically a collection of 2,000 blood donors. They take their blood, the plasma, they centrifuge out the plasma to separate the plasma from the remainder of the blood. And in that plasma, you will find the anti-neoplastins, which will give this particular benefit. But when you wear this Eon patch, you are signaling to turn back on a third of your previously dormant pluripotent cells. So now your original supply of anti-neoplastins are being made available to you, which starts this rapid repair in your body, which is quite exciting. Wouldn't you agree? Okay. So also just wanted to point out, did you know that blue light, the LED lights that you have in your home, the LED lights that you have from your desktop, laptop, from your cell phone, this destroys the DHEA fountain of youth hormone. It actually causes inflammation, and it also causes insulin resistance. So that means that it's causing cellular damage because mitochondria are inside your cells, and those get dysregulated, which is the beginning really of all disease. So for once in your life, you get to do a legitimate do-over by applying these patches. Okay, so excuse me, I have a little bit of a cough here. Don't know if anybody here has a question or if Carol might have a question. I'm going to check here on YouTube to see if anyone on YouTube has a question. Let's see if I can find. Okay, it doesn't look like I have anyone. Oh, I don't know why it's set to private. It wasn't supposed to be set to private, but it is. Okay, so there's no questions that I can find here at this time. All right. So Carol, might you have any questions?
The only thing I was thinking about was the eye, because of shingles in the eye, and it's still sore. Everything else, gets better with the patches on them and stuff, the neuropathy. But the eye is a little more blurry and can get very, very sore. Is there any ideas there?
Yeah, the suggestion, there's actually one suggestion before I recommend that you get the ice wave patch, because the ice wave patch will turn off pain receptors. Before you do that, I might suggest that you pick up some organic castor oil.
Oh, yeah.
Just take some organic castor oil and put that on your fingertips and then just gently rub it on your eyelids all the way up to the eyebrows and even right above the eyebrow and
right
the eye. So you're going to surround the entire eye with that castor oil because that will help, I think, some of the pain. That's an anti-inflammatory. There's
Right.
a lot of benefits you're already aware of castor oil. So I would try that first before getting the ice wave. If you still see that it persists after that, then I would get the ice wave patch.
Well, I'll give that a go. That's easy to do. So
Yeah. You can get that from your local health food store, or you can order it
yeah,
through Amazon. I like Heritage Solutions because whether it's nascent iodine or organic castor oil, everything they make is organic. But as long as it's organic, it doesn't matter.
who do you get it from normally?
I normally order mine through Amazon, and
Oh
there's a
yeah,
company called Heritage Solutions. If you give me a second, I can show you what the bottle looks like.
yeah.
Okay, let me get it for you.
Oh yes, I recognize that bottle. I had that years ago.
Mhm. And you know, a bottle lasts a long time.
Definitely.
Lasts a
Oh
long
good.
time, and it's a great moisturizer. It's great to use, not just on your eyes, the way I just described. It's great for castor oil packs to put on your liver, moisturizer for your legs, your arms, your hands. It's really quite phenomenal. There's a lot of medical uses for castor oil,
Right.
including I've never used it as a laxative, but I know that some people use it as a laxative. You take like a teaspoon or a tablespoon. I just started using it for oil pulling instead of using
Yeah.
coconut oil, just to change
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh good. I'm glad. I'll order some this afternoon.
Yeah, so yeah, organic castor oil, that's what I would recommend because that might just be the one thing that you need to balance what you've got going on there. Okay.
Right.
So let me
Yeah,
know how that's going.
I will. Thank you very much.
Anything else?
The three people I gave you information about, they
Mm-hmm.
they're going to hold off for a while. Just
Oh, they are. Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we'll keep at them.
Okay. Yeah. So they want to hold up, that's fine. And if there's anyone else you want me to talk to, just let me know.
Oh yeah.
I will
Yeah.
be returning a call to Annie Skipper. She called like 3 minutes before we were going live, so I couldn't answer the
Perfect.
call.
Yeah.
I'll be giving her a call back. And no Zoom tonight. I have a special engagement this evening, but we will be back on tomorrow at 2 p.m. Okay.
I'll be out and about. I go to the dermatologist tomorrow, so I got to join my patches.
Okay. That sounds awesome. All right, my beautiful friend and Jim, you have a beautiful rest of your day. Ciao for now.